Yo, crypto nation and mining family, what is going on? What up, what up, what up? What's going on, everybody? Don't forget to smash that lizardy like button as you slide on in here, guys. Yo, what's going on, Crypto Badell? What's going on, my dude? What is going on? Hope you're doing all right. Hopefully you had a good day at work and all that good stuff, right? So we're going to go ahead and just kind of dive right on into things as we're sitting here watching people roll on in. Sorry about not getting, yo, what up, Nick V? What's going on, my dude? Sorry about not getting the notification out to everybody a little bit sooner. Had stuff with the facility going on. And then at the very end, was sitting there chit-chatting with a buddy of mine who's wanting to start up a YouTube channel, thinking that it's profitable. It's like, it's kind of a labor of love unless your channel, like, blows up or something like that. But, teach their own. So I just kind of gave him some pointers and stuff like that. And he's a friend of mine that's in another state that I haven't talked to in a hot minute. So, yeah, I didn't get putting out the notification for the video, so here we are, guys. So let's go ahead and just kind of roll right on into things. Bam. And here we go with the S&P 500's flatline, NASDAQ flatline, Bitcoin's down almost 3%. The dollar index is weakening a little bit here. Dow Jones is flatlining. Russell 2000 is flatlining also. If you kind of come into the Bitcoin charts here a little bit, it's like you guys will sit there and watch me kind of watch over this a little bit more, just because I'm curious to see what's actually going on in this market here. And as we had this nice little rip up, we are doing a beautiful side action trade, like I was sitting there forecasting that we more than likely would. A lot of the shorts, short position or the liquidations have slowed down. I think that helps out. I think that $30,000 Bitcoin is still in play, guys. So I'd say for right now we're in a healthy market. This is a great little pullback. Yes, we all want to see it go to 1 million. We all want to see Lambos and Moon and all them key catchy phrases, right? But for a market to be able to sustain itself, if it goes up, let it draw down just a little bit, or just trade out sideways for a little while. Let it gather a little bit more momentum before it starts to stair step its way up. That is a way better market movement than what most people would actually think. So I'm thinking that we're going to be looking at a very bullish sentiment out here, guys. There are a lot of things that are kind of pointing out that we are still potentially in a bull run, guys. I mean, if you sit there and you kind of look at it from the lows, from the FTX lows until now, this is a very much of a healthy rise, right? We can go ahead, and if you look at it from before the FTX collapse in the market, you can see that. Let me see if I can change the color of this so you guys can see this a little bit better. Settings, here we go. And let's make this, bam. I like that. So this yellowish line right here, if you sit there and you look out for, if you ignore the bottom, the crash out from FTX, we're still hovering on that line. So can you say that we picked up from the bottom and started this rise going back up? Potential. If you look at it from that point of view, then $23,000 Bitcoin is definitely still in play. Depending on how it wants to roll over, it could sit there and roll down to about that $23,000 mark. I don't think that will really, I don't think we have enough momentum to break that $22,000 neckline on the Bitcoin market I don't know if we got the momentum for that. I see it. We could punch into the $23,000 marker, and that puts us back into our support zone. And basically we just got rejected off of the 28,000 then. And if we got rejected off the 28,000, we should see a healthy pullback, and it should kind of go right back the other way. How long that cycle will be, hard to say. Just note that we're also getting closer to the Bitcoin halving. So that starts to get priced in, I think, right around now. And Litecoin is going to be going into its halving very soon. I think it's 100 some odd days. Litecoin goes into its halving also. We can sit there and bounce onto the Litecoin chart itself. And you can see that since the whole FTX crash, we have definitely been on a good movement going up with Litecoin. So we've had a very beautiful V-shaped recovery. And seeing that we're trading out sideways, just like Bitcoin here, nothing's going to really outshine Bitcoin in the long term. Everything kind of does its market cycles the same way. But seeing that we are at that $90 mark for Litecoin, beautiful area to be in for this. I think, it's like we've just kind of returned back to norm, and with Bitcoin pulling back, Litecoin got kneecapped on its way up. Very, very typical to sit there and see that, because Litecoin is correlated to Bitcoin. So very normal, very, very normal. But what I like about it, the reason why I utilize Litecoin is the transaction fees are low, and it's pretty fast for what I needed to do. Outside of using it like that, it's like I mind it a little bit, guys. To be transparent, I got some mini doges. So I mean, it's not like I'm kitted out the way I used to be for Litecoin. Good God, those machines are not very profitable, for me at least. So we'll be definitely seeing the market, I think, trade sideways just a little bit longer, and then stair step its way back up to the next level. Let's go ahead and get right in. Since we got a few people in here, I'm just kind of killing some time before more of you awesome people can show up here. So let's go ahead and get at the topic of today. So Nvidia thinks crypto adds nothing to society, guys. Yep. Except for profits. I mean, like that. Don't sell your equipment to crypto miners. I dare you, Nvidia. You are selling it directly to crypto mining farms. Don't tell me that you see it being useless to society. Profits are not useless. For the last time I saw, if you're able to sell the products you're making, it makes it very useful and viable for your product line. Whether you agree with something or not, it doesn't matter. Now, for the purpose of what most GPUs are being mined on for, the different cryptocurrencies that you mine on GPUs, yes, a majority of those do not add anything useful to society. Most are scams, money grabs, Ponzi schemes, rug pulls. I mean, been here long enough to see it all at this point. And if Nvidia wants to sit there and single out that, then 100%. But we already saw what they did with the LHR cards, right? Where they were trying to limit the hash rate on the Nvidia cards, saying that there was no workaround and that they were able to hardware lock this. Trying to, wag that finger like the angry parent, going, stop using our equipment the way that we did not intend them to be. It's like, don't tell me how I should be able to purchase stuff. But at the same time, they're not sitting there telling me, no, I can't purchase this. They didn't really even, unless the supply chain was was low, Nvidia would even let me buy more than one GPU. I could buy more than one GPU from multiple different vendors. What up, geek of all trades? What's going on, my dude? We're gonna see, like with how Nvidia kind of played played on the whole mining boom. They got behind the prices on here. I'm sorry, without the mining boom being as good as it was, Nvidia would never have been able to justify a $2,000 GPU and be able to push it out with profit to the rest of the world. They would have been slashing those prices down if it wasn't for us GPU miners. I mean, granted, a lot of the coins that we're mining really have no value, except for trying to earn more Bitcoin, right? With that being in mind, if you want to look at it from, it's just crypto. That's the problem. Anything that can be mined on a GPU, they want to say is useless to society because they believe in Bitcoin. Then their statement, I'm like, okay, I see where you're functionally coming from. I understand it. There'll be a lot of people that won't agree with your statement. I will halfway agree with it. That, it's like if you're looking at from the point of view of only on the GPU mineable coins that they're useless to society, you have a bit of an argument there. As far as the trying to push more of the cryptocurrencies to be more ASIC bound versus ASIC resistant. I know whenever I got into crypto mining, everybody was like, "We're gonna be ASIC resistant, guys. We're gonna be completely ASIC resistant. We'll always be able to mine on GPUs and CPUs or whatever." You're giving up a lot of security in order to have that. To functionally kick out the ASICs off of your platform to help bring in some security. You're giving up a lot of security in the process. So, period. GPUs are not always the most efficient way to be mining, 100%. But, there are people who believe in certain projects that are GPU mineable, and you're going to be playing with them. I know people who play around with, Flux Network or playing around with, Caspa, Ravencoin, all these other coins where you have a community that's going to be utilizing it. So to that particular person, it has a lot of use to them. It's not useless to them, and in that group in society, that group of people has a use case for it. So it becomes useful to a small subsect of the society. Maybe not to the greater. If you look at the society in whole, no, you're talking about a mosquito bump in the global society that's really utilizing it. If you want to look at it from the big scheme of things, yeah, it has nothing useful to add in. But for the people that do use it, it has a lot of use case. It helps them. They benefit from it. And you know what? Even if it doesn't, those same people that are wanting to utilize it are going to utilize it, and it makes them happy. It's like I try not to step on, like, you'll hear me poo-poo on all these turd coins and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, if you were if you sit there and can go, hey, I like this project because I use it like this, I really got nothing to argue against that. You're utilizing it. And it's like, so if you're getting into a project and you're like, hey, let me mine some of it, let me support the network that I'm going to be utilizing, more power to you. That's what crypto is there for. But for Nvidia to take the stance that it is useless to society, let's see them start turning down the revenue from the mining division. Let's see them turn off Nvidia blockchain department. Yes, guys, Nvidia has a specific blockchain department, just like AMD has a specific blockchain department also. And AMD has come to the realization that, you know what? Miners are beneficial to the business model. It doesn't have to be the whole focus on the company. No. Just make a good graphics card. And if the mining community feels that there's a value to owning that particular card, let them buy it. But it's going to help you move units. Where Nvidia is sitting there taking this approach. They have a blockchain department. They were sitting there selling GPUs in the thousands to crypto mining facilities that they outright knew were crypto mining facilities. They've also been fined by the SEC for not disclosing the specific amount of revenue that they were getting from it. So, I mean, it's like, if they were honest, if they were an honest company, they wouldn't have all these little issues. What up, automatic beats? He's like, geek of all trades. Dude, I love those AI generated thumbnails, dude. I know, right? They're awesome. I will utilize those bad boys. I love every one of them, dude. I'm like, oh, that's a good one too. Oh, I love these AI generation stuff. So I mean, if it's like, and it makes it really hard to sit there and really want to support Nvidia. It's like they just so happen to be making great GPUs, and it sucks that they act like Apple and abuse on their customer base. Blue Willow. So yeah, it's like with the way that Nvidia wants to sit there and kind of do things. They're like talking out both sides of their mouth when they're doing this. So, you know, I kind of been putting Nvidia into the Apple camp, going, if they didn't make the one of the top of the line products as they do, it would be inexcusable. And if AMD sits there and steps up their game, I will drop Nvidia out of my farm. If AMD can dethrone Nvidia on the performance of mining, with keeping that power efficiency, they can keep that power efficiency and actually have a better hash rate. Oh my God. Oh, okay. Good to know. I'm going to make a note on that. I did not know. I'm kind of playing with this stuff like without really knowing. Let's see here. Hold up notes. Yes. What up, Dakota Miner? Yo, long time no see. Nice, geek. Nice. All right. Now I got that note. Sweet. I love notes. All right. So, bam. Put that back to right there. Sweet. So, yeah, I mean, it's like I hate the dog on Nvidia, but man, they're making it very easy by sitting there and doing all of this. Ugh. Moving on. I digress. So, what AI token do we need to mine? Yeah. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole of designing a blockchain from AI. There was already an AI generated blockchain rug pull. So, bam. MSI and Gigabyte are already releasing 4070 GPUs. Spotted at the EEC, which is the regulatory filing on their product lines, and they are in, guys. We have the Ventus and Gaming X and Gaming Trio, Supreme X, and Gigabyte Eagle OC. All will be 12 gigabyte of VRAM on there. So the whole 4070 series is going to be all 12 gigabyte. But it'll have a slower memory bus on there, so you're not going to get the full potential out of the memory modules themselves. So they'll be all sitting on a 192-bit bus. on the 4070, 12 gigabytes of GDDR6X memory on there. So, depending on your product SKU, will depend on which 4070 you're going to grab. So there'll be a base model 4070, a mid-tier, and then the Ti. And they do come with a little bit different power usage on there, of course. The TIs you usually are going to be your less power efficient, but give you more performance. But it'll have better cooling because it'll have a thicker cooler on there. Now, some algorithms will be able to utilize the TI variations a little bit more effectively than the non-TIs, and they can get the wattages down to where they hash out a little bit better per watt overall. But from what I've seen over the years, that a TI versus a non-TI is a very nominal difference between the two, and a lot of times, the power spread between them have been starting to get a little bit larger and larger over time. So just kind of keep that in mind, that the TI variation more than likely is going to be utilizing more power while mining. What up, Gallo? What up? So 200 watt on the base model. That's probably where I would be looking at on that one. Yes, you're going to have a little less performance on it. But I don't think between the two flavors of the base model 4070s that you're going to see enough of a difference to want to favor one versus the other. I would sit there, and the way that I would favor it, this is just what I would do, this is not mining advice, is to sit there and let your pocketbook sit there and determine that. That's what I do. And so if one goes on sale, that's probably the one that I would go after. I'm a cheap ass, that I don't want to sit there and spend big bucks on everything. It's counterintuitive. Even with the 4070 Ti's, it's like, yes, you're going to get a little bit more performance out of it, a little bit, because you got more CUDA cores on it. By about 2,000, you get about 2,000 more CUDA cores. So yes, you're going to get more performance. You're going to use a little bit more wattage. But I think that the wattage will be nominally a little bit more, but nominally. Is it worth the extra cash to kick in for the 4070 Ti versus the non-Ti? Again, I would let your pocketbook decide that one, and whichever one is on sale at the time you're ready to pull the trigger is the one that I would go after. I wouldn't be splitting hairs versus Ti versus non-Ti. It's bin versus non-bin. The TIs will have a thicker cooler on there and all of that stuff too. Nvidia is a green husk of what it used to be. 100%, Alex. 100% spot on. Yes, Gallo, F to the A. What's going on, ham and cheese? Just compound turbo that bitch and get more hashies. Yeah. Oh, God, yeah, exactly. Let's put a Ritz blower on there and really get it spicy. And get a little scramble button on there with a little spritzer of nitrous on there. It's like, are we selling 30 series? I wouldn't sit there and say that the 30 series is out, right? The only way that I would sit there and say that the 40 series is really worth it to replace it is if it gave you that big boosted performance. Now, if I was going from a 10 series to a 40 series, yes, that 10 series, bye-bye. But as of right now, there's not enough of a jump between the 40 series and the 30 series for you to want to drop all your 30 series. So I would say that if the pricing is right and you see the price of a used 30 series versus a new 40 series and see which one makes the most economic sense, that would be the direction that I would go, Gallo. Do I want to grab some 40 series? 100%. But I got to get the facility up and going. So that is my He's like, the 3070s are priced so nice right now. Oh, true. True. I mean, so this is, to me, this is a perfect time to start looking at some of the 30 series on the used market. The worst thing that I've come across on the used market is beat up fans and dried out thermal paste. Big deal. To me, that's like normal maintenance in a mining facility. No problem, Gallo. I'm still running some of my 10 series, but I really cut down. I've gotten rid of a few of them. I've got like 2 rigs of 1070s, 1 rig of 3080s, and I mean not 3080s, RX 580s. Sorry, I've got a rig of RX 580s running. I've got 2 rigs of 1070s, 1 rig of 1080 Ti's, and that is all the old stuff that I have. Everything else I have is either 6000 series AMD or 3000 series Nvidia now, and then ASICs, of course. But the 30 series is perfect right now. I would say that by next year, you might want to start phasing out your lower tier 30 series by next year. But as of right now, so I mean, it's almost like you almost want to sit there and, again, not mining advice, but maybe the next mining bull run is that time, and decisions will have to be made. You go to miner. What? It's not my financial advice. It's not mining advice. No, sir. This is not. So we're gonna be not hashtag not mining advice. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And this is only, and it's like, and I only say the lower tier 30 series by next year only because of the fact that there'll be another generation coming up. Usually by 2 generational gap difference, you start seeing that performance difference in power to performance. So to keep yourself more into a ratio where you're the most efficient, as the hardware gets older, your efficiency starts sliding down the scale. So you're going to want to sell out not the high end gear, but the low end tier stuff. So your 3050s, 3060s, and then maybe towards the end of next year, going into the following year, you're looking at 3070s and 3080s and 3090s. Within 2 years. So 2 years from now, your 30 series will be basically effectively outdated. I mean, it's not that you can't hash on it, not that it's not viable for hashing depending on your power rates and all that good stuff. He's like, the guy got 1660s and 2060s. The 3070s are crazy efficient, and imagine what the 5070 is going to be, or the 6070 is going to be in efficiency mode. So I mean, it's like, it's kind of relative as you start getting a little bit on the older side of the hardware. I mean, I'm still running 1070s. 1070s were the sweet spot. You either had for power to hash rate, it was 100 watts, and at the time for Ethereum or Ethereum Classic, you're looking at 30 and a half to 31 and a half megahash on Ethereum. I got these cards in the beginning of 2018 with the 1070s, and mined a whole bunch of different coins with it, and I still have them. And I'm now starting to contemplate, do I want to get rid of them? Because like this is like reminiscences of my original farm that I had here at the house. That everything's now over at the facility. So it's like, do you get rid of them or do you not? It's like eventually I'm gonna get rid of them. But I'm thinking I'm just waiting until the next like bull cycle with GPUs again, and then I'll sell all my original hardware off, get that out of the way. It's like 2070 is also super efficient on K heavy hash. Not bad, not bad. Well, like I said, it's not that they're not efficient for what they are. Wait until you got 2 to 3 generational difference, and then look at that, the direct replacement in the same class. So if you got a 70 class, look at the 40, how the 4070 is going to be compared to the 2070 or the 1660, because I got a 1660 Ti. Eventually that'll be phased out. I mean, it's practically right there. The only saving grace on the 1660 Ti is that it runs like using basically 75 watts. If it used any more wattage, it'd be gone. It's like, yeah, buddy, want to see what the 4070s will do. Exactly. I mean, that's a lot of times where you start looking at, okay, I see how that's actually hashing now. And then you look at what you have and you're like, damn, I can replace 2 of my GPUs with this one. Use the same wattage as one GPU and get the performance of 2. And that's where you're like, man, do I get rid of my old stuff or continue running it? And that's an argument you have to have with yourself. Eventually, I'd love to get my hands on a 4070. So if there's any like cool sponsors out there that would like to send me a GPU, I would so happily, graciously take that, even if I got to send it back. But Nvidia doesn't like us to be able to just do that directly with us. So there's that. First rule of mining, you never sell hardware. Hold on here. I mean, like this. Does anybody know what this is? Does anybody know what this is? This is OG hardware. I'm going to tell you that right now. This is OG hardware. This is a miner. Does anybody know what this is? This is a miner. I'll even give you a hint even further, guys. Oop, I knocked my little cover over. This is a ASIC. This, sir, is an ASIC. Uses a laptop style charger with a barrel jack going into a USB for connectivity through another PC to run the script on this. Anybody know what this is? Ham and Cheese took a stab at it and to say what it was, to think that what it was. He's like, it looks like an old school AMD cooler. It is a big giant cooler. That is true. And it's in 2 pieces. So there's a top and a lower portion of this cooler. And the ASIC chip are in the middle here. It's a fuel filter. He's like, hey, cooler, I just got here. Air filter. No, this is an ASIC. What ASIC is it, Budweiser? Do you know what ASIC this is? I'm taking your answers. You probably do not know. This, everybody, is a grid seed miner. This mines Bitcoin and Litecoin. Yo. Bitcoin and Litecoin. This is a grid seed miner. I don't know if it's going to show up too well here. Of course not. Trying to get the camera to show it, but it doesn't want to. It's not cooperating. So it's a little guy. I mean, it doesn't give you a whole lot of hash rate, guys. So it's not like, oh my lord, this is like the most breakneck miner on the planet. But it mines. It uses 65 watts. Has like 2 gigahash on Bitcoin. And like what, like 100 mega hash on like Litecoin? I forget. It's like, why isn't it not running? I cannot live stream and have this thing hooked up to my computer. I don't have it uses up too much connectivity through my CPU. He's like, what is that magic device? It is called a grid seed. 65 watt grid seed miner. So you can look it up, guys. It is a grid seed miner, guys. Let me... All right. Oh, wow. You can actually buy these things still? So, on Amazon, you guys can buy a grid seed miner. So, $168. You can buy it new. This thing runs 65 watts. And, yeah, you'll have to... You will have to sit there and have to kind of code the software for it. I have videos on it, guys. So if you guys ever want to grab one, I have everything for it. So, yo, I hope you find like if you like old school hardware like this, it is out there still, everybody. So moving right along, guys. AMD Ryzen 7 7800X 3D appears on the CI software websites. So we get actual performance updates on this, and falls in right behind the 7700X. So that's not a vote of confidence right there, that the 7800X 3D is not really up to snuff for where it really should be on the performance stack side. You would think that the 7800X 3D would outperform it, but it doesn't. But the spec side of it, it looks like it should be better. But the boost clock is only 5 gigahertz. TDP is 120. So for the 7800X 3D, you're getting a higher wattage on this. L2, L3 cache, 104 megabytes. So you're about 60 megabytes higher than the 7700X. And you're looking at about a $50 difference in pricing on there. So not all the performance on there is the same. But remember, guys, that the 7700X does not have performance cores. That's basically what the 7800X 3D is. That you'll have some performance cores in there, and then some like hardcore processing cores in there. So you would see it in certain applications be a little lackluster, but for gaming side of it, it's supposed to be very good. Streaming side, it's supposed to be very good. But if you're looking for CPU rendering styles, the 7800X 3D is not going to be where you want to be at. Nor do I say, even for mining wise, the X3Ds I don't think are going to be the CPUs to really go after, since you're not going to get the same performance across all CPU cores, especially if you are mining on the CPU. And that'd be one of the bigger reasons why to grab a AMD CPUs, because you can mine on that bad boy. And CPU mining has been rather profitable for a while, with many different CPU mineable coins out there. And where I usually go stick my rigs whenever I'm mining on the CPUs is right on the Monero Ocean. It auto switches for you, pays you out in Monero, so privacy by default. So we're going to be looking at, a little bit of a price difference between the SKUs to be expected. So, it is what it is for that one. But I mean, if you're looking for mining, I would be staying away from the X3D models. That again is more for the gamers than the miners. If you want just raw, unadulterated power, you're going to get just either like a 7800, a 7800X, 7900X, 7950X, or 7900 non-X. You don't want to grab the 3D cores. Just kind of stay away from that stuff for mining wise. But everything else, the 3D chips are pretty slick little things. I've been seeing people kind of regretting that they grabbed certain CPUs on the X3D that feels like they don't have all the performance there. I wouldn't grab any X3D chips just because of the fact that you're locked out of overclocking, really. You're able to tune them a little bit, but not as much as what you can with the non-X3D chips. So you're like myself and you like to overclock your stuff, stay away from them. It's not a playground for you. I think the X3D chips are more for people who want plug and play. That'll be more up their sleeve, not us. 7950 X3D won't even run Expo. Damn. Wow. I told everybody don't get the X3D stuff. I've been saying it. My 3070X needs a pricey motherboard. What about the 7000 series motherboards? Not bad. I don't think that they're the motherboards themselves on the 7000 series. I think some of them I've seen right around that $300 to $600 range on a motherboard. Has been typical of what I've seen. I mean, even when I got my Threadripper motherboard new, almost 5 years ago, I think I spent $350 on my motherboard, and I believe that there are 7000 series motherboards that are in that like $450 range. And if you want to sit there and you want to cut down your price on the motherboard, look at the micro ATX boards. You're giving up some PCIe lanes, but you're really not giving up performance at the end of the day. So I would sit there and kind of cut down the board, and then you can cut down your pricing on there. Helps out. But any 7000 AMD won't run Expo on foreign DIMMs yet. Oh, wow. Wow. Still to this point? You would think that... Wow, that's interesting. That really is interesting, one Ham and Cheese. I would never think that the AMD wouldn't run Expo on 4 DIMMs yet. I mean, at least there's a workaround for it, right? I mean, like, I can only get it on 2 DIMMs only. Maybe it's just the that's interesting. Is there any has the developers given any reason why on that? I mean, is it just not coded in for it, or because I'm sure it would work on the older stuff in XMP. Exactly. That's what I was thinking. That's exactly what I was thinking, Ham and Cheese. That's crazy. And it's like, and I know Expo will work on my Threadripper. Possibly. It could be that, or it's just not optimized on the AMD platform quite yet. That could be it too. Which that'd be crazy. I mean, it's either going to be in the BIOS not being taxed too much, or it's like I would almost sit there and think that it just doesn't have the optimization through AMD, because the way that Intel does it is a little bit different than AMD doing it. So, yeah, probably growing pains with the DDR5s. Yeah, exactly. I think that's probably where I would think that it's at. It's just the optimizations isn't there. But I mean, hell, at least you can pull out some of the DIMMs out of there and get the thing to fire up either way. And as long as you're not taking a huge performance hit off of it, you know, it's a pain in the butt to be able to deal with it, and you can't. And you got to turn your computer off, pull out DIMMs, and then when you're done, turn it off, put the DIMMs back in for everything else, or you're just running with just the 2 DIMMs in there for your memory, for your RAM. Yeah, it has to be an optimization thing. I couldn't imagine that it would be the RAM controller on there, because then you would see that same issue in other areas, and if you're only seeing it there, then that would just kind of explain that there's an optimization thing that has to come out. I mean, it's not like you're trying to run Crysis, right? All right. So, and then talking about AMDs, he's like, yeah, I mean, when I'm spending $1 trillion on a new build, I want 432 stick RAM. Unnecessary, but I want it, and I want it now. I feel you. I really do. Threadripper supports 4-channel RAM. I got quad-channel RAM on this bad boy, and that's 8 gigabyte sticks times 8. Yeah, that's what I got, and it supports 128. So yeah, because Threadripper lineup, if you guys are unfamiliar with it, is basically the enthusiast grade workstation. So it's a workstation for somebody at home that you can overclock the snot out of this thing, and it just kind of takes it and is like, cool, that it? So I feel you. I went to a big bad boy build on this. I was like, I want to have this thing future proofed. It's been pretty good for me. I mean, it's been like 4 years running so far. Yo, that's one thing I like about my little Threadripper lineup. But I don't suggest people to just go run out and grab Threadrippers. That is an expensive platform to build on. I will say that. And then talking about AMD, we got the A620 budget motherboard with DDR5 memory that appears to be launching soon. It's an entry-level A620 chipset, guys. Yo. And this is what I talk about. You want to sit there and save some money on a build? Here you go. You get three slots to slot into. Yes. You get 1x16 that'll give you your full bandwidth on this, and then you get 2x1s to put in peripherals into this, right? So if you got a video capture card or something like that, this will work perfectly on. On the other side of it, if you want to mine on this also works. And you might think to yourself, man, I can only plug in 3 GPUs. Why? You get a U-bit 4-way splitter, and you can plug in 2 U-bit 4-way splitters and get 8 GPUs on this, guys. They'll be all PCIe by 1. But who cares? A U-bit 4-way splitter in this bad boy, and now you got a budget-friendly, newer CPU, newer RAM on there. You're going to be able to hit the newer algorithms that might benefit from a good CPU and good RAM on there, like if you're doing proof of useful work, this might be beneficial on a platform like that. Like I bought my 3970X years ago, and it's been idle 16 months. Pumped to fire it up. Nice. Man, I wish I had a 3970X. I got a 3950X. I got 2 of those. Mining. But I mean, yeah, we're gonna be looking at. I mean, you can sit there and get a platform like this, and even if it's for game, if you're doing this for a gaming rig or mining, and you can sit there and have this thing mine away with 8 GPUs on there. I've got videos in the archives with me doing that on what is now almost a 17-year-old motherboard, mining with 8 GPUs. Proving that you can mine on a potato, guys. An absolute potato. The only thing I haven't done it on is a Raspberry Pi, which I have seen people doing it. I just never went down the rabbit hole to do it myself. So, yeah, it's like, and this is going to be for the Ryzen 7000 series. Fits perfectly with the X3D series. Will work with any of the other 7000X siblings. So this would be the motherboard that I would probably go on with Budweiser if I was going to be building on the right, because you were the one that asked that one. Yeah, the 7000 series motherboards. Yep. So if I was doing a 7000 series motherboard Budweiser, I would probably go after this one. This motherboard will probably be your cheapest option. Just saying. Be probably under that $400 marker if I had to take a guess. I could be wrong. I mean, we live in crazy times these days. Really crazy. So definitely going to be seeing. I'm pumped to see this one kind of come out. Being an AMD CPU fan, this would be the one that I would be excited about the most out of that lineup, because I don't need to have the top of the line motherboard if it's not going to make me any more money, and I'm not going to be able to get a better headshot because I'm a terrible headshot to begin with. It's like it's not going to make my game any better, and it's not going to make me more money while it's mining. Then I would go after a lower tier card, get U-bit 4-way splitters on there, call it a day, cut that corner right on out. That's just me. It's like, drop that link. It is not out quite yet. It's going to be launching soon. So Budweiser, as soon as it comes out, I will let you know. I will drop you that link personally as soon as this thing comes out. I got you, dude. Not yet. You got to wait. You got to wait a little bit. It should be pretty soon. Did they actually give a timeline on this?
Hyundai Palisade versus Toyota Highlander.
Why?
Look what Palisade has.
And
what Highlander doesn't.
Something on there decided to play audio. I did not click on anything. So it's like B650 boards are the budget boards for AM5. Yeah, buddy. Hell yeah. It's like Dakota Miner. Sweet. Yep. So I will let you guys know as soon as it comes out. 100%. Asus X670P is a decent board too. 255. Not bad price either. That is not that's a decent price on a motherboard. That is a decent price. All right, so let's go ahead and grab into the next section here, guys. Yo, Coinbase devs want to build inflation-pegged flat coins. They don't want to call it stable coins. They're now terming flat coins because it'll always be worth $1. But this one is going to be based on the new Base network. So Coinbase explains that it's now more important than ever to build inflation tracking stablecoins that negates poor monetary policies decisions of central banks. So $1 will be always worth $1. Because like we see all the other stable coins, not the algorithmic stable coins, not the Ponzi stable coins, like Duquan did. Like just straight up look at Tether only, and that's the only one you look at. You'll see that the Tether pricing index kind of fluctuates a little bit. Why does it fluctuate? It's not because of the dollars that are backed up behind it. It's because a big group of people has sold or purchased Tether, and you'll see that slow arbitrage. As long as you're able to peg within margin of the dollar, you're doing good. To be able to force peg it, I don't understand how Coinbase would be able to force peg a flat coin. It's like that goes beyond the ability of a stable coin, and basically states that they can, how can I put it? They'd be able to sit there and infinitely print their own flat coin, right? It's like if you're sitting there saying that you're going to be building on an inflation tracking stable coin that negates poor monetary policy decisions of central banks, what about the cryptocurrency exchanges themselves doing the same bad policies and still pegging those same dollars 1-to-1 to what the dollar is? How are we going to have a proof of reserve on that dollars? How are we supposed to prove that it's staying stable at that $1? And is that a way for Coinbase to basically screw the people using the platform? We all know that Coinbase has been around for a hot minute. I don't know if they're now starting to succumb to some of the shady practices that other exchanges have been doing and blowing up for it, right? So they're looking at the crypto exchanges, seeing flat peg, inflation pegged flat coins as one of 4 critical innovations that should be on recently launched Layer 2 network base. The other 3 include an on-chain representation system, an on-chain limit order book, exchange tool that can make a decentralized finance ecosystem safer. I'm not sure how they're going to be able to really integrate that and still maintain consumer confidence behind it all, considering that they're already having issues trying to track a lot of these. I mean, yeah, you can track the on-chain orders, but you have to have all these exchanges sitting there and communicating with each other. Are they willing to? Are they willing to do that? Probably not. Probably not. So unfortunately, we're going to be looking at a market that, in the future, guys, is going to have some really messed up looking metrics on there, with what each exchange is going to be like. Oh, this is our in-house stablecoin. It's going to blow up on them. They're going to have meltdowns just like all the other exchanges before them that has issued their own stable currency. And what? We're going to have the banking system come in and swoop in, and that's where you're going to have to buy all your cryptos through the banks as they're sitting there blocking transactions and forcing you into CBDCs? Come on. He's like, as a consumer, I have zero confidence in USD, whether it's printed or digital. Thank you, ham and cheese. Thank you. And it's like, out of all the stable coins that are out there and dollars that are out there, I loosely am okay with Tether. Loosely okay with the fiat cash in my pocket. Outside of that, I'm all in on Bitcoin, guys. Like that, I'm a fiat minimalist. Let's see here. Wi-Fi's trying to get a hold of me. Back up. Okay, cool. She's like, my back tire's a little low. So she obviously picked up a nail Like, you can see what the commies are doing with BRICS currency. 100% ham and cheese. I couldn't agree more with that one. I mean, we got those socialist central banks that are basically going to do infinite money printing to bail out all the other banks, which means that banks no longer have any risk to consumer, so they can continue to keep doing bad banking practices, bad bets with your currency, and us, the taxpayers, are going to bail out ourselves through higher taxes and higher inflation. Yeah, this is going to be really interesting times moving forward. 100%, guys. Really interesting. With banks imploding, there's 197 plus banks out there that are on the brink of collapse. One small little pinprick right now, guys, and the banking system's done. And the U.S. will go back into quantitative easing and hyperinflation and Bitcoin to the moon. I mean, just saying. You know, I don't think the government will let the banks fail. They will print the money into oblivion to save the banks. So, be very interesting times we will be seeing this year. I'm curious to see how each one of these markets are going to be handling this stuff moving forward. 100% ham and cheese. Oh yeah, we people should be concerned not that Russia and China are partnering up, but that Russia and China are agreeing that they're not going to use the U.S. dollar in the middle of their trades. They're going to use the yuan. Where the U.S. is basically giving the global economy to China, going, here, you deserve this. BTC to the moon, yes sir. It's like Doge and ETC to the moon. Yeah, it'll pretty much take the whole crypto market and to the moon. It'll take gold and silver to the moon. I'm telling you guys, this is like the prime. If you wanted to see the prime example of a primed powder keg, this is it. We have all the ingredients there for a great fireworks show. Sit back and grab some popcorn, boys. It's going to get a little bumpy. Yeah, it'll be very interesting on how the markets are going to respond here coming up. Be very interesting. He's like, I'm feeling the energy. Oh, yeah. It's like, and it's looking like another one of the banks they're exploring to be bailing out too. So what is it? The First National First National Bank or whatever it was. They're looking at bailing them out, guys. So we are going to be seeing the bailout of the banks a second time in our lifetime, guys. So if you were born in the last 25 years, we're going to see 2 bank bailouts in our lifetime. It's like, I only got 1.2 gigahash and I need more power, Scotty. Dakota Miner, we can help you out over at the Family Mine LLC, where we'll be able to host your gear at a nominal price. We're changing some stuff up over at the facility, guys, and we're going to be grabbing about a half a megawatt worth of power. And it looks like where we're going to be, because the landlord our landlord where we were using her power and her account, which is like a 60-year-old power agreement with the power company. She's shutting down her business and she is turning that aspect off. So I will not be able to run underneath her electric bill any further coming up soon. So we'll be switching over and getting the electric bill into our name, which means that we're basically going to be at about 11.5 cents per kilowatt hour moving forward, guys. So I know I was trying to get it at 9 cents a kilowatt hour, but we were hoping that we were going to be able to continue to use our landlord's power agreement and just run everything underneath her. But she is going to be officially shutting down the company and all tax liabilities going along with it. So she'll be turning off that account that is as old as can be. It's at least a 30-year-old account. So I mean, it was signed and all that good stuff many moons ago. And without that account, my electric price is going to go up for a little while. So we're going to be looking at 11.5 cents per kilowatt hour. If you would like to sit there and utilize that, come on by the Family Mine. We got you. He's like, I need a bailout. Damn. You and me both, brother. You and me both, brother. That is 100%. Smash that Lizzie like button for bailouts of the people. I mean, it's not really a bailout of the people, because a bailout means you're printing money, which means everything's more expensive, and it's a hidden tax on the people. We don't want bailouts. We need to let the free market reign and let bad businesses fail. And that'll teach other bad businesses to start doing better business, or they're going to fail. We need to stop letting the government use the people as the parachute or the brake on the system. It's like 11.5 cents USD is $1.80 Canadian. Holy cow! It's like joking. It's like, oh my God, I would be like, my jaw would hit the ground if that was true. Holy cow. It's like, sorry to hear about the update on the Family Mine, but still pretty cheap power. Yep. It happens, and then as we start adding on power, it looks like our rate will start going down. And then at that point in time, if we can get our rates to go down, we might be able to pass some of that stuff on, depending on where it drops down to. Pass that on to you awesome people, and hopefully it continues to keep trending down. Otherwise, 11.5 cents is where it's going to be at, fellas. Because we need to get the power. Our landlord needs to have power for the building, and there's really just not enough power for the building. Just saying. All right, so check this out. If you want to hear some bad mining here, this is it. So, Crypto Acorns on Twitter is a BSV insider. TAAL is fully and privately owned by Calvin Ayre, the owner of BSV. This means that Calvin controls 95% of the BSV hash rate.
But there's only 2 miners, right? And Craig himself has said there need to be 3 or more. So if you only have 2 miners, yes, they're competitive, but to the outside, people don't know that. And it's really, one has got, 90% of the network and the other's got 10. So, and QD Link, by the way, is the same as Tall, the same people. And then you got Gorilla Pool. I know their hash power is increasing, but that's it. That's all you got. You got someone else who might come along and do something, but that's pretty much it. That is not good. That is a concern. And the leaders don't seem to think that's a problem, despite them saying in the past that it is. I mean, when BSV first forked, it had like 6 or 7 miners, and they had a lot of people that would come and go. Now you just see 2. It's just 2 miners. That's not good.
So BSV can be easily 51%ed on itself from the developers themselves. Would you, think about the ramifications of that. Calvin Ayre, the creator, the owner of BSV, can change the code anytime he wants, and he owns 90% of the hash rate. So he can perform a double spend anytime he wants. This means that BSV has a risk usage by nature. It becomes a 90% risk issue because of the capability of one person being able to attack his own network. Would it be smart of him to attack his own network? No. Has other people in this position done that before? Yep. If any of you guys are in BSV in any way, shape, or form, I'm not telling you guys what to do, but I would be suggesting, just from what I would be doing, this would be my suggestion to myself, is to be selling out of that stuff into that sweet busy Bitcoin, especially if there's only 2 miners on there. Holy cow. He's like, go straight to jail, do not pass go. 100% ham and cheese. 100%. So, this is why you got to be careful of where you're placing hash rate, guys. Very easily to be 51%ed. I've done it to me and Mikkel and another person. We were asked by the Rito crew to help test their network, and I was like, bro, I've got more hash rate on here than your whole network has. And he's like, oh, we need to stress test it. And I was like, okay. And we put our rigs on there, and the whole Discord lit up going, we're being 70% attacked. And I hopped on there, and I'm like, it's really not an attack, but I do have 79% of the hash rate. He's like, bro, you could sell your mama for that sweet busy Bitcoin. No, I think I'll keep my mom around everyone for something. For stuff and things, for doing mom things. But yeah, I mean, so careful when you're dealing with ASIC coins specifically. Before you get involved with an ASIC algorithm, double check to see how much of the network is being controlled by a particular group. If you've got anything above 45% of the network is being controlled and it's not a brand new network, I'd be major red flags. Even on a brand new network, I'd still be red flags, but I'll give them a little bit of leeway that it's just an algorithm starting out. But it must be diversified rather quickly, not concentrating into one area. I hate seeing coins where they got one area where you can mine to, or one GPU miner that can be utilized on it, or it has their own ASIC. It's like you're talking about software, hardware, or pool controlling it. Those are red flags in my opinion. So be careful with going to certain coins and stuff like that. That's always a just a thought in the back of my head that I tell people. It's just like, be careful where you're mining to. Make sure what's going on. If you know the devs, it's a little easier if you can talk to them and ask them questions of what's going on, why is it this way or that way, and move forward, right? And then talking about banks, and it's like why I've been like hinting on this a little bit here, and this might be something that'll help springboard the price of Bitcoin up, all the way up. Is U.S. exploring additional support favoring First Republic report. All the way up. I'm just saying. This is going to favor Bitcoin's price to go all the way up. Right? I'm just saying. So the United States Authority are reportedly deliberating on expanding an emergency credit line for banks. QE, quantitative easing, once again, which may provide First Republic Bank a time buffer to address balance sheet concerns, according to the people familiar with the situation. Bloomberg report citing unnamed sources that claimed U.S. officials are pondering what support, if any, can be provided to First Republic. However, an expansion of the Federal Reserve offering is one of the options being explored. First Republic was reportedly deemed stable enough to operate by regulators without the need of an emergency immediate intervention, as efforts are made by the bank in the meantime to shore up its balance sheets. Why would they shore up their balance sheets? This makes absolutely no sense. They just watched their buddies get bailed out. Why would I, if I was in their shoes, why would I do anything but stay the course of where I'm at? There's no reason. That means there's nothing going to happen to me. Nothing bad is going to happen to me if I made bad bets in my bank. Because at the end of the day, government's going to step in and insure the depositors at the expense of the taxpayers. Every bank out there is insolvent, guys. There is no bank that can shore up its balance sheet and become above water. They've got garbage bonds in there that are now being sold for less than where they bought them at. They're losing money on this. Plus, during the cycle, they were giving out interest rates that were super low. They don't give out house loans now at 3% interest. That's what my house is at. So that means my bank is losing money by having my mortgage rate now. We're going to see this more often. This is what's going to implode the banking system, is that they're not bringing in enough payments off of all the loans. If the loan interest is lower than their interest rates for their loans, then the bank becomes insolvent. The bank becomes insolvent. That means all the creditors, the depositors just lost their money. Remember, guys, when you put your money into the bank account, it's no different than putting it in a Coinbase. Not your keys, not your cheese, guys. Remember that. You're giving your money to them. It becomes the property of the bank. It is no longer yours. You get a mark on your ledger from the bank of what you've put in. It doesn't guarantee that you can pull it back out. Period. I mean, you would expect that the bank, if I put my money into a bank, that it's going to be there. Nope. They're making bad bets with your cash, losing money faster than they can bring it in. And then they're putting onto their balance sheet garbage assets, making questionable loans to people, predatory auto loans. All this stuff is going to come to a head, guys. Especially if we start bailing everybody out and everybody's trying to ditch out of the dollar. This is going to put the U.S. into hyperinflation, which will crash out all the banking system in the U.S. And then we get to go to Fed Now with the CBDC coin to come in for the rescue. It's almost like this is being planned for this to happen. I'm just saying. I'll put my tinfoil hat back on. That ham and cheese, I'm going to point this one out. Since the pandemic, or the scamdemic, however you want to look at it, started, they ended fractional reserve banking. The banks no longer have to keep 10% on their books at all. The banks are broke. It's that bad, bro. It is truly that bad. They took out all the stops out of it because right as the scamdemic started, the banking system locked up. And before that, everybody would go to JP Morgan for a predatory loan from JP Morgan so that they can clear their bank balance sheets at night. By 12 o'clock at night, they had to have the settlement on their books, right? So you had the repo market, the reordering purchase agreements of their loans, right? They don't do the repo market no more. I mean, they'll repo stuff on you, but not they don't do the repo market like they were, where they were lending out between the banks so that they could all make it look like they had the money on the books. It's been a three-shell Monty game for decades. These banks are broke. The bubble just popped on them, and they've been exposed with their hands in the cookie jar. This is disastrous for an economy, disastrous for a country, and amazing for Bitcoin. It's going to shoot Bitcoin to an easy $1 million if this breaks. Easy $1 million if it breaks. It's being planned 100% with a twist. BTC and crypto is the wrench in the plan, 100%. And they don't know what to do with it. They do not know what to do with that sweet, busy Bitcoin long term. It'll be very interesting to see what happens in the next couple of years. But if you believe in the cycle of currency, guys, fiat and all of pure fiat currency typically doesn't last more than 50 years. Or just a little over that. 1971, Nixon took us off the gold standard. Cash became fiat currency. We're at the end of the death cycle. I think that'll be like, 2026 that should be done. Typically, governments, how can I put this? Like an empire. So the U.S. empire, if you think about the empire peaking and dropping off. Now the people will still be here. But the U.S. empire peaked in the 60s, like the 50s and 60s. We peaked. And we've been slowly coming down this whole time. We're looking at the economic ending of an empire. That's usually around 250 years. That puts that, if depending on how you look at the origination date of the U.S., we're either looking at right around 28 to 21, I think 32 should be the death of the U.S. empire. Now, it's not like the holy grail of dates of it's going to happen then. But if you overlay other empires and how long they lasted, how long their currency lasted, all that good stuff, we are in the same timeline doing the same thing. Now, it could take an extra 10 years that they can kick the can down the road. It depends. It all depends on what they do now. Will depend on if they're going to be able to do anything moving forward with the way that the economic policies are to date. I think we are seeing the death of the failed economic policies, and they are desperately grabbing compressors to try to reinflate this so it doesn't die. Yep. It. How can I? So historians will explain it like this: first, it happens slowly, and then suddenly. So the rate of failure starts to speed up over time. So it starts off as a little failure here, but you can absorb that. A little failure here, you can deal with that. A little failure here, it hurts, but we can move on. You get enough of those failures in, and it makes the string of failures that sets you back. Instead of economically being here, where you're supposed to be, you're now back here because you had bad economic policies. And that gap starts to widen and widen and widen for where you should be to where you physically are due to bad policy. And once that gap gets so big, the failure becomes quicker, faster, and you become knee-jerking to try to respond towards crisis. So you become a crisis manager versus then instead of looking at economic guidance, instead of guiding the economics into the right direction, you're doing knee-jerk responses to a disaster. It's like you would rather be proactive than reactive. And the moment you go into reactive mode, you make your mistakes faster and harder. And that's what we're seeing now. Yeah, crisis surfer. Yeah, exponential crisis surfer, yes. Calling the Bitcoin Jedi. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Jason. Good to see you here, my dude. So, I mean, we're going to be seeing a lot of that economic stuff kind of hit in there like that. You know, and you're going to see companies that are going to try to position themselves in the right position in the wake of all of this disaster. Michael Saylor with MicroStrategy repays its Silvergate loan and then buys another 6.5 thousand busy Bitcoin. And now he owns $4.1 billion worth of Bitcoin at an average price of $29,817 per coin. He made this announcement after he purchased everything. So he now MicroStrategy possesses 138,955 Bitcoin. That is life freaking changing. And if you think that that's not bullish, I don't know what is, guys. This is the most bullish thing that we could see. That we have a fund manager that has just paid off a loan that they were utilizing to buy Bitcoin. Now they paid that loan back and buys more busy Bitcoin. So Michael Saylor is like, he went from not liking Bitcoin, going it's a useless asset, to eventually he saw the light. And he is one of the biggest Bitcoin bulls out there, period, guys. It's like Mike Novogratz. Yes, sir. He's another good Bitcoin bull also. But Mike Novogratz is also a poop coiner. So he gets a brownie point for being a Bitcoin bull. And then he loses 2 brownie points because he's a poop coiner. Like Mike Novogratz is the one to watch. I keep an eye on him, but he's just a really big poop coiner. I mean, he's made some bad bets. But at the same time, he does have a big Bitcoin mining facility in multiple locations. So he gets another brownie point for there. So I think at the end of the day, Mike Novogratz just kind of breaks even with me. I mean, I don't look at Mike Novogratz as good nor bad. But yeah, somebody that you can certainly get some information from. I mean, he's good for data. And that's about as far as I go with him. But seeing that MicroStrategy has paid back a $205 million loan at a 22% discount because Silvergate blowing up, they were able to renegotiate their loan, which love this. Stick it to Silvergate. Stick it to them. They deserve what they just got. And he turned around and sat there and for the discount of $160 million acquires an additional 6,455 Bitcoin. So the $160 million that he saved, he just like, I'll buy some more Bitcoin with that. That's a DCA average that I could sit there and get behind. I love it. I absolutely love it. And it pushed his price per Bitcoin down. He was originally somewhere around $32 per Bitcoin on average. With this purchase, has helped bring that pricing down. Now he's averaging under $30,000 per busy Bitcoin. And that's where I tell people you can DCA, because over time you'll buy when it goes up, you buy when it comes back down, and you'll average out over time for where it was in the market you truly got into. So if you're just getting into Bitcoin at 23,000, typically over time your average buy-in is like right around between 23 and 30,000. That is where your average buy-in is going to be, depending on if you bought a lot into the higher bull market area or if it's dropped down. I've been in it since 2018. Bitcoin was at $3,200. No, I do not have any of those Bitcoin left. I have been putting everything into the Bitcoin mining facility so that I can get you guys fired up over there at the facility, hashing away profitably. Yo, that's what's up, guys. And then I think this is where we're going to go ahead and call it, guys, with that last little bit. It has been over an hour. We got an hour and a half, guys. You got an extra half hour of your of time with this. So sweet. I didn't go through all the articles, guys, so we'll have some more for tomorrow, guys. So if you guys are looking to have your rigs hosted at the Family Mine, certainly think about joining the Patreon. Links down below. Get into the pseudo hasher tier, and this will guarantee you VIP's positioning at the facility. And it looks like we'll be able to offer you at 11.5 cents per kilowatt hour, all in, guys. And that will, and then, you know, you'll have a $5 per month rig fee for the rig just sitting on there, and that'll cover a dedusting once a month on your rigs. If there's any kind of maintenance that needs to be done, that is a per rig issue, depending on what's going on with it. Depends on if it just needs a quick reboot or if it's something that needs to be diagnosed. Diagnostics fees are, depends on what's going on with the rig. If it's something on a component level that's got to be repaired, that's going to be a little bit more costly than sitting there and going, oh, I need to replace a riser on in my server case. Take that for instance. You're talking a very, just a few moments of time that you're going to be charged, plus risers, or if you supply the risers, then there's that too. So thank you everybody for being here, all that good stuff. If you are new here, certainly if you don't want to join the Patreon, that is fine. Join the Discord, links down below also, guys. Join in there, it's free to join. Love to have you be part of the family either way, guys. And with that being said, thank you all for being here. Smash that Lizardy like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification, all that good stuff. Peace out, stay savage, and if you got any questions, ask away real quick. I'll give you a few moments. If you guys don't have any questions, drop some FAs in the Chizity chat real quick, guys, because you are rated F for freaking awesome. Yeah. We already got Budweiser going the peace and the thank yous on this. So definitely everybody drop those FAs in the Chizity chat, guys. Do that right. Meow. Just saying. Otherwise, ask a question. Otherwise, I'm going to get up out of here because you guys are awesome. We got people dropping some FAs in the chat. Yeah. All right, everybody. So with that being said, peace out, stay savage, and may your watts be low and your hash be high. I'll see you on the next one. Yo, and watch it all the way to the end. Click off on another video. Don't just end this video. I'm trying to see if the click-through rate will actually change the YouTube algorithm with me. Small experiment. Thank you, guys.